And this is our U.S. voting election system made by me, Angelo Capone, Julian Jones, Derek Hainsworth, and Jeremy Emler. First thing we're going to take a look at is our Android mobile app. It uses the Java programming language. It allows you to vote from your phone, see election results, and it has two-factor authentication with password and CAPTCHA. To continue on to that, to talk more about our front end, we use navbar and navigational graphs to make it ease of access for users to switch between the voting results and My Profile pages. Then we use XML fragments for friendly user viewing data, so that you can look at the results or the election info right from the website. This is our US election website. It is ran off of ASP.NET Core using C#, HTML, and JavaScript. It allows you to see the election results, but only when the ballot has ended, to not allow people to see a winning side and then pick that side over the one that they initially voted for. Then it uses identity logins that's ran through ASP.NET Core to make it easy for us to code and also for people to make their login and registration account. To talk more about it and more about administration tools, we have it built in to allow admins to build polls and then delete both polls and also votes. It also allows you to have an anonymized list of votes for administrative viewing to check on everything. And this is a little bit about our web service. It's a Java-ran API, allows anyone to access the SQL database. It has GET and POST requests that use HTTPS that's handled by Azure, and it also has POST requests that uses basic authentication for encryption. After that, it is now time for a live preview, so I'll hand it over to Julian.
Good afternoon. My name is Julian Jones, and I'm going to be showing you the app and a little bit about the database and web service. Share application and live screen share. All right, sorry about that. Let me go ahead and close. Let's get to this. All right, so like we covered beforehand, so before we get into this, let me show you register. So if you click on register, it'll bring you to the website that we have hosted currently on Azure. And it takes a second to load, but maybe. Refresh. Here. Reload. Anyways, that's weird. But you can register to the website, and it uses the same login for ASP.NET Core. So let me go ahead and show you that. And before you can log in, you have to complete a CAPTCHA. If you try to log in without completing the CAPTCHA, it will not work. It shouldn't work. Yeah, see, login failed, so I have to complete a CAPTCHA. And this just allows just users to access and no bots, so that we can make sure the election information is not skewed in any way. Something wrong with my connection? It was working just a second ago. Hey, Angela, can you talk a little bit about the website while I try to figure out what's going on with my connection?
Yeah, I can switch over to that.
Sorry about that. I'm going to try to get this fixed.
application, screen one, share. Okay, this is the website up on Azure for the elections. I am going to begin showing you how it looks for someone who has never voted or registered to vote before. So it's very simple. Simplicity is very important so that people don't get nervous or maybe scared out of voting just because it might be a little complicated. So you got the home screen, which is this one. It says this is a dedicated voting election system. You have privacy that essentially says your information will not be given to anyone. And then you can come over to the polls. Currently, there are 4 elections up here. This one has not been held yet. These 2 are being held today. And this one was held. These 2 are being held today. And at the bottom, we have one that will be held on some future date. If you click on an election that was already held and you hit details, it will give you a little indication of who won. So in this case, Tom Wolf won the election for state office of senator on 5/4/2021. And then here is a pie chart showing who got what votes. So Scott Wagner got 1 vote, Tom Wolf got 2. So it also shows he won down here. Each candidate has a little card displaying information about themselves. It has a currently placeholder image for the candidate. It has their name underneath that, their party underneath their name, and then a summary that they write about themselves once they register for the election. So if we go back to the home and then we hit login, and we log in using a voter's account, which is this one. And then we go back into the polls, everything just about looks the same, except when you click on an election, it says you can join the election. And then you can put in your party, your summary, and hit create or quit. If you hit quit, it just returns you to the election page you were on. If you hit create, it brings you back to the home page for the elections. But if you go back to details, you will see that this account was added as a candidate for this election. And if you go back to the elections list and say you just want to sign up for a different election, when you try to, it says you cannot run for more than 1 office. It would be very bad if one person can try to run for every office in the country. Got to keep that stuff separate. So then, if we log out of the voter's account and we log into an administrator account, which is this guy, you'll notice something changed up here in the navigation, and that is you now have access to edit, see the details about, or delete any candidate that is currently running for an office alongside creating a new one. And if we come back to the polls, you have many options to edit the data surrounding polls. So you can create a new poll, you can enter the date, whether it's local, state, or federal, what it's for, where it's for. You can edit the information about an election. You can delete an election outright. And also, let's go back into the election that we just had the voter account sign up for. So if you hit details, you can see the summary is in red and it says approved summary. That's because by default, summaries are set as unapproved and hidden from the public in case there is any form of misinformation or just something that is not friendly for a voting app. So once you hit approve, that is approved. And if you were to log out, you'd be able to see that. I can show you that in 1 second after I show you this as well. So this election being held today, you won't be able to see it. This one, okay. This election was held. We saw the results earlier. When you go into the details, only under an admin view can you see a list of the votes that were cast for that election. This is in case someone may think that a ballot may have been cast fraudulently or something. Okay, I'm just about done with the website, Julian. I'll switch back over to you in a sec here. So if a ballot is thought to be fraudulent, an administrator can look at a list of the election or the ballots cast under an election, and then they can sort that out. And then back to, I can show you here too, I believe, this one. Well, I can't. Log out, polls, down to here. The summary is now there. It's not hidden anymore for someone who isn't logged in as an administrator. So I'm going to send it back to Julian, and then Julian, after you're done showing a little bit more of the app, I'll show a little bit of the web service for how it receives its election data.
I'm so sorry about that. My Android Studio was running into a network error that I had to fix, but luckily it is now working, and I can show you guys what's going on. So, where we left off was the login with the CAPTCHA, and we used the Google CAPTCHA services to provide authentication so that not just anybody can log in. It has to be a person and with the username and password that's registering. And when you register an account for a website, you specify your address, your first name, last name, and then when you sign into the app, you will get a list of candidates that are available to you based on your location, and that includes federal and state. Bicycles. Sometimes it's really weird.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can never tell with caption. There we go. So as you can see, also when you prove the captcha is correct, it'll gray the button out, so you don't have to complete it anymore. Login failed. Did I put the wrong password in? What's going on? Did I spell something wrong? All right, so sorry about that. It took so long, but once you get past the login success, it'll bring you the voting list, which appears to you in a Tinder-style swipe right, left scenario, where you can click next, and it'll show you the next candidate on the list. Next, previous, takes you back to Biden, previous. I'm going to cast my vote for Trump, so I'll click yes. And if you show Android Studio, it'll show you you got a 200 from the web service, so that means your vote went through. You can click over here. It'll show you results and election info, which brings you links to the website, as well as your profile section will show you who is currently logged in at the moment. And then I'll take you over to Postman. If I try to do the same exact post, just to show you what will happen, I'll click send, and it'll say only one vote allowed per voter per election. So that means that we cannot vote for the same candidate or in the same election at all per ID. and then I'll pass it back to Angela, who's going to finish talking about the web service.
Okay. Just a little bit more context on how the app, the mobile app itself, receives the data. Under the API, there is a general election GET request that returns general election data for any of the elections. But you can also specify an active election and provide a voter ID. Don't save. And if you do that, it sends out it sends a request to the API, and the API will return any election that voter with the ID 6 followed by 9 zeros can vote on that day. That is either a federal election, a state election within the same state as that voter, or a local election that is within the same city as that voter. So let's see if I can find that one. Okay, state and federal, so that one won't show up here, but that's essentially how that works. And then when it comes to gathering specific candidate info, it can either be gathered once you request an election, so it returns an array of all the candidates running in that election, or you can specify with a candidate in the API request, and it will return only that candidate's information. That is everything I have for the API on the website. Any questions out there?
Angelo, can you show them the website with the vote posted just real fast?
Oh, yeah. So that is... So if we come here, just to show that the ballot can be cast, that is under this one here. Log in as an administrator, because a normal person seeing those is very bad. Go back down to details, and as you can see, earlier there were only 4 ballots cast in this election. Now there are 5. I only know this is the one Julian cast because I know what all the test data looks like. Realistically, there is no way to get private information from a voter ID with any of the authorized SQL commands and procedures you can use. And that would be everything. Any questions now?
Devin or Nick, any questions? Yes, thank you, Jason. It's clap. Very good, Devin. Okay, Nick.
Again, I'm sorry about the connection issues earlier. We tested